Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ultimate Racing 2D and the F1 2019 AI Championship. We've done the first 7 races, and if we take a quick look at the standings, it's Bottas that is leading the way from Verstappen, Vettel, Hamilton, Gasly and Leclerc. Scrolling down, all looking juicy there. And then in the constructors, it's Mercedes just ahead of Red Bull with Ferrari trailing in third. Racing Point best of the rest, ahead of McLaren, Renault, Alfa Romeo, Haas, Toro Rosso and Williams. We're off to the UK next. We'll get our 1 lap quali in. And that looks like Bottas out front to me. Oh, not for long. Hamilton there. Gasly pokes to the front even. As they make their way around the corner. The Williamses have dropped right off the back. Don't know what's happened there. Not a good look. Hamilton reaches the front though. Is he going to claim pole position in his home race? Vettel looks like he's having a good comeback at the end. And well, that won't be a Hamilton pole at all, will it? Not good for him. Ends up third behind Bottas and Vettel. Verstappen, Leclerc, Gasly poked himself out front but ended up 6th. Ocon leads the B section ahead of Raikkonen, a good run. Sainz, Ricciardo, Norris, Perez. Albon, that's his best quali of the season in 13th. 2 Hasses there down towards the back. Hulkenberg again, another rocky road and not of the pudding variety. Kvyat, Russell and Kubica at the back. But it's wet to begin with, or it's wet starting off. So everyone on the same tyres. That's the first time you've had that this season. So Bottas leads the way. Ahead of Vettel, Hamilton. They're being pummeled a little bit by Verstappen, but it's all okay. We're going to go to dry quite quickly by the looks of it though. So as everyone that makes their way through, Verstappen gets round Bottas who's dropping back. Vettel trying to lead the way for Ferrari. Leclerc has not had a good run. Dropped down to 6th, only just ahead of 7th even now as Raikkonen gets through. And look at that, Verstappen being blindsided both ways and ending up down the back. Ooh, and that's not worked out well at all. Vettel being pummeled down to what was 5th for a second, now up to 4th, but Verstappen getting it wrong. Pushes out Hamilton wide, Vettel getting back through. Bottas keeps up front. We're starting to get into dry weather tyre territory. Everyone's still making it through, even Kubica at the back there. As Verstappen takes the lead, daring move. At the top of the track. Running down the hangar straight. Will everyone be in this time for dries? Oh, wets are coming though. Do you stay out? Do you stay out? I would if I was anyone else. And look, yeah, everyone's staying out because they're all just going to come straight into wet tyres. Lando Norris leads the British Grand Prix. Ahead of Perez and Ocon. The rain coming. Perez looks like he's going to go for it again. Then what have we got? Verstappen, Ocon, Vettel, Bottas, Ricciardo, Sainz. Hamilton's got Albon going past him. Up into 9th. Great stuff from Alex Albon after Toro Rosso not really having a great time, but Verstappen on new wets, of course, they're going to have some advantage, even though they lost it in the pit stop. But overall, Norris and Perez, the big winners. Ocon 2, Sainz and probably Albon. Raikkonen looked like he was going to have some juicy time, but he came in to the pits, so that's not worked for him. Now everyone's in for dries. So Verstappen, Vettel, Norris, Bottas, Perez, Ocon, Sainz, Ricciardo, Albon, Hamilton, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Gasly down the order. Hulkenberg, look at everyone struggling there. Raikkonen losing out in the pits. Norris has gone on to hards, as has Danny Kvyat. Ooh, I don't think that's going to work out well for Lando. He's got some advantage over everyone, so if people maybe get a bit angry, it might work in his favour. But I think that could well be Norris's downfall in this race, and that will hand Racing Point a great run of things, because at the moment, look, Perez and Ocon ahead of Sainz, pushing their way through. That's Hamilton getting past Alexander Albon. Gasly, Magnussen, that's Raikkonen and Hulkenberg trying to deal with the Haas driver. One going one way, one going the other. Raikkonen ends up ahead, but K-Mag going round the outside at Stowe. Beautifully done. Up into 12th. Kvyat fallen off the back of everyone in 18th, so that's not looking good. And Norris being wheeled in, or reeled in rather, by Perez. Ricciardo looking good in the Renault as well, so juicy stuff. Up front though, it is Verstappen and Bottas leading the way from Vettel, and once again Lewis Hamilton having to do a burn from the midfield to try and get himself into position. It's just not been his season, has it? Is that Perez getting past Norris already? Yes, it is. Wow. Soft tyres really do have the advantage. Norris trying to get back. Look at Ricciardo trying to steam it on through. Bottas all over Verstappen for the lead, and he's through. Wow. Verstappen tries to get himself back through into the lead again, does so. This one looks like it could run and run. Both using their boost. Verstappen uses it a bit longer there. In fact, he's ran out. Bottas keeps his momentum in and then uses it on the home straight to take the lead back. Wow. Juicy stuff up front. Vettel third. Ricciardo has made himself into fourth. They're all battling to the point that's actually letting Lando Norris kind of stay in the fight, and this is working great for him as he pushes Ricciardo out. Through goes Perez, through goes Hamilton, who's saying thank you very much. Indeed, Hamilton now into fourth and ahead of Lando, although Norris has got power there, not able to use it at the end of this lap. Kind of seeing pay to that, but Hamilton, you'd imagine, would be able to now pull away from Norris, despite Norris getting that slipstream. He's using all of his momentum to try and get on terms with Hamilton, and he smashes his way through. Wow, oh, that looked juicy behind. Perez trying to get around Ricciardo, didn't work. Ocon struggling, Sainz there too. Then Gasly, Albon, Kevin Magnussen further back. But yeah, this battling has actually worked in Norris's favour, bizarrely. So, the end of the soft tyre run, and in fact, very end of it, there's Bottas in already. Is he going to go on to hards or do another soft? Hards for Bottas. Drops out behind Vettel and Verstappen, who are busy popping a lap on George Russell. There's Hamilton, Norris, Ricciardo, Sainz next, Perez, Ocon, Gasly, Hulkenberg. There's Albon back out on new hards, having a go at Raikkonen. Oh, that's just costing them both precious time. Albon having his best race of the season on the hard tyres now. That could be an issue, although he's using his boost to great effect there as he caught up and got some slipstream on Hulkenberg. They're all in the pits. Grosjean in 2. There's Leclerc down in what was 16th. Now moving up to 13th. It's not been his day. Lots of people back out in softs actually, which is interesting. But Bottas then leads the way on hard tyres. Verstappen and Vettel now have pitted, but they've gone to softs. So they're going to have to try and make it work, because they will kind of burn out slightly towards the end, but they've ultimately got much better pace. Hamilton next, then Norris. Hamilton went for another pair of softs. Ooh, Norris gets that wrong, and through goes Sergio. Indeed there, I think Norris will end up tumbling down the field. I wouldn't be surprised actually, as Magnussen gets past Albon. Albon trying to get back. Both having good races. Leclerc less so, down in 14th in that Ferrari. It's not worked to his favour at all. It's his third stop though, so it might still pay dividends if the soft-tyred runners run out of room and tyres. Kvyat only just ahead of George Russell as Perez puts a lap on. But it's Verstappen versus Bottas. Verstappen now in the lead. That's how much that has hurt. If we look at the tyres though, you can see the soft ones have already worn out more than what Bottas's hards have. But we've still got 6 laps to go. This is going to rely on whether or not Bottas can actually keep a clear run, and if he can use his slipstreaming maybe to try and keep himself in check around Verstappen, that could be helpful down these long British straights. And we've got, that looks like a collection of cars up ahead. It's Raikkonen, Leclerc in the Ferrari about to be lapped. I think we're going to be okay. As Vettel's got round, there we go, Vettel round Bottas as well. This could work out quite nicely for Bottas if he can hold on to the back of him though, because he'll be able to reel him back through. Hamilton on his own in 4th, Gasly in 5, Perez has caught him in 6th place. Is that Perez going to go through? Oh, he's having a look at it, but Gasly's thinking better of it. Perez gets the inside and goes up and through. That's Ricciardo getting past Esteban Ocon as well for 7 and 8. Vital for Renault. Sainz and Russell. There's Norris. Oh, it's just not worked out for Norris. That's his new stop for new soft tyres. He might be able to pull something out from this. I'm not sure. Magnussen on old softs though, really struggling. There's Albon on used hards, and he's in the way of Sebastian Vettel, and there you can see Verstappen not too far up the road from Vettel. Vettel's coming good here, but it's because he's had to deal with 3 cars of drama and traffic, as that's Hülkenberg popping past Magnussen for position. Don't know what's happened there to Albon. Peeking out, basically. Norris isn't doing much about Carlos Sainz despite having all of this extra stuff. Gasly's pulled well away from everyone as well. And so 2 laps to go, or a lap and a half, and this is basically where Bottas needs to do something juicy, but the problem is that they've got Magnussen and Hülkenberg playing problems with them. Bottas gets through. Vettel in the lead. Missed that one entirely. Sorry, everyone. Now you can see Vettel's done better on his tyres than Verstappen. Bottas last lap. His hards are better than the other 2, but it's not enough, is it? Once again, hard tyres, not the way to go. Hülkenberg unlaps himself. And Sebastian Vettel tries to drag Ferrari back into the Constructors' run with an excellent win for the Ferrari team. Verstappen led most of the way there, ends up 2nd. Bottas 3rd with poor strategy. Hamilton lost out early there, ended up 4th. Gasly will be 5th. Perez is going to not get 6th because Daniel Ricciardo is. That came from nowhere. Perez ends up 7. Norris up to 8. So it kind of recovered a little bit at the end there. He got past Ocon and Sainz. Whereas Hülkenberg there ends up 12. Albon, hard tyres. Kind of put paid to him, but he ends up 12th. That's his best run of the season so far. Magnussen, Leclerc, that's his worst in 14th. Alfa Romeo were nowhere in that race. Raikkonen 15, Giovinazzi 17. Grosjean in between. Kvyat was nowhere either. Russell stayed ahead of Kubica. And well, Bottas has 4 points advantage over Verstappen. It's closed in a bit. Vettel was the big winner though, moving up into a clear 3rd ahead of Hamilton and Gasly. Leclerc, it's not worked out well for him. He's had some flashes of pace, but he's down in 6th. Perez and Ocon next up. Norris, Sainz and Ricciardo equal on points after all of that, as are Hülkenberg and Magnussen. Magnussen doing well for that Haas team. And Albon pulling clear now of Grosjean for 16, 17 and Kvyat in 18. Russell clear of Kvyat and Kubica. And well, that was still a net win there for Mercedes overall. Off to Germany next. And that's Charles Leclerc looking to try and make amends by the looks of it up front. But Puts Verstappen popping into the lead in that Red Bull. That looks like it is a Verstappen pole through and through. Well ahead of Bottas and Hamilton. Leclerc. Vettel. Norris gets ahead of Gasly. Sainz. Raikkonen again a good run in quali. Hülkenberg in 10th. That's his best for a while. Grosjean up in 12th, splitting the racing points. Ricciardo down in 15th. That's his worst for a while, I think, if not all season. There we go. So, how are we doing here? Bottas on hards, Vettel hards, both McLarens on hard tyres too. In fact, there's a real 50-50 split. This is going to be a juicy race if it stays dry enough to make it a difference. Verstappen, though, takes the lead just about from Leclerc. Leclerc is desperate to try and get himself back into some kind of championship hunt. What is Norris doing in 3rd on the hard tyres? How the hell did that happen? He's leapfrogged Hamilton, who's on softs, who's struggling with Vettel on hards. There he goes through now. Ooh, a little bit argy-bargy. Bottas trying to do something. Leclerc takes the lead in that Ferrari ahead of Verstappen. Then we've got a clutch of hard-drivered or hard-shod tyres. Perez being wrong-footed there. Lets Sainz get ahead of him. Raikkonen on hard tyres as well, holding up Hülkenberg, Giovinazzi, Magnussen and Ocon. Albon on hard tyres doing not a bad job either, but they've all kind of fallen off the back. As here's our lead trio, and look, Lewis Hamilton dives down the inside of Verstappen. Is he going to go around the outside of Leclerc? No. Wrong foot, Verstappen back through again. And this is going to be a long corner after corner battle that Verstappen wins for the time being, but that trio have pulled well clear of everyone else. And as Gasly, Norris and Bottas fight it over 4, 5 and 6, keeping Perez and Magnussen at bay, Verstappen back into the lead. Hamilton sneaks through as well. Leclerc using the boost on the repon back. Ooh, but wrong-footed. And that's put Leclerc down to 3rd. Ooh, a little bit of a snap back. Pushes him off, gets him through. Then it's Gasly, Norris, Bottas, Perez. Magnussen then up into 8th, doing well. Trying to keep Ocon at bay, but Vettel pushes through. Giovinazzi. Hülkenberg again, not making those Huff tyres work. Kubica ahead of Russell. And there is Leclerc back into the lead. Or is he? Just about. This trio, squabbling with each other, have basically stopped themselves being able to pull a massive amount over Gasly, because Gasly's got a gap over Norris as Hamilton moves up into 2nd. They need to kind of focus a little bit on themselves, if I'm honest. Not each other. But they've kind of pulled away there from the 2 racing points on the soft tyres. Magnussen next. Giovinazzi and Hülkenberg having a squabble. And Kvyat has not been able to do anything in that Toro Rosso in the soft tyres, which is a shame. And here we are, the trio again down at the hairpin. This looks good for Hamilton. Ooh, a little bit of a love nudge onto Leclerc, and that's going to allow the door open for Verstappen. But we've seen that lap after lap, you get pushed out wide, and if you can't kind of make it work, you'll be forever on the outside. And Verstappen comes in early. What does he go on to? Another load of softs. I think that will work. Look, he's come out right behind Gasly, Norris and Bottas, and he'll have fresh tyres. And look, immediately storms past Verstappen. Bottas there smacks into the back of Norris. That was an own goal really for him. Con Magnussen going through Giovinazzi, gets past Perez, or does he? No, he does not. Sainz is there too. Kvyat stays ahead of Hülkenberg for the time being. Here's our leaders, and look, they've gone to hards. I think that could be a bad decision. Wow, you can see, can't you? Look, Verstappen, 1 lap extra on earlier on softs. He's well clear of Hamilton and Leclerc. This has been won in the pits, potentially. Yes, he's got to do an extra stop, but he's basically already covered it back. There he goes. The hard shod Hamilton and Leclerc trying to get round the old tyres of Gasly. Gasly not making it easy, but he's through now. Then it's Bottas. That's Vettel finally getting past Norris. Or is he? Norris going round the outside, round the outside. That's going to come the inside for this corner. Nicely done. Switcheroo, and then forces Vettel off into that next mode. Great stuff. There's Perez, Hulkenberg. I can see Kevin Magnussen dropping right back down the field. But that's because he's had a pit stop and he's trying to push his way through on Raikkonen, Hulkenberg and Albon. And I think he's done it, actually. Again, this is new tyres working out nicely for Hulkenberg and for Magnussen, actually. Hulkenberg trying to get himself back up the field. Kvyat too, but wow. Verstappen's really done this one. Look, 3.88 seconds clear of Hamilton, who's having his simplest race for quite some time. Up into second. Leclerc still stalking him round, though, as the Williamses go at it at the very back of the field. That is Kubica getting past the yet-to-pit George Russell. It's not been his day. And here comes Verstappen into the traffic. How he deals with this is going to be key. Albon holding people up there as Ricciardo does get through, as does Sainz. And look at the drama that Verstappen is having to face as he gets round 1, 2. Is he going to get round all 3? Yes, he does. Nicely done. Raikkonen into the pits. Sainz gets round Danny Kvyat. They've both pitted. And still, after all of that, Hamilton still actually doesn't close in on Verstappen at all. So, well, he does a little bit actually, now that it's updated, but it's not by much. And immediately he's fine and able to go again. So, crazy stuff. Perez and Ocon doing well in their racing points, albeit on hard tyres. Norris still ahead of Bottas in all of this. Vettel has come in and gone onto soft tyres. That's interesting. He's gone early. Let's see what he can do to try and upset the apple cart somewhat. Hulkenberg's moved into 10 ahead of Kevin Magnussen. Big gap back to Giovinazzi. So you can see that the field is kind of pushed out. That's Verstappen into the pits. His final set of soft tyres, and there he is, back out in third. He's got Kimi Raikkonen and Danny Kvyat between himself and Leclerc. Leclerc all over the back of Hamilton. Excuse me, these three, they've been together for a lot of the early part of the race. Verstappen took the unusual strategy. It's worked already past Leclerc, nearly past Hamilton. Hamilton defends. Verstappen goes just plain sailing around the outside. That is stunning work by Verstappen on a superior strategy. And you can see Vettel it's working for as well, as Leclerc goes into second ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who slips back to third. Gasly, Perez. Here is Vettel. He's already done Bottas and Norris. Now he's done Esteban Ocon. Next up in his eyes is a very worn Sergio Perez, and through goes Vettel. There's nothing they can do about it. This is working well for Ferrari, but he's 5 seconds off before he gets to Gasly, so I think that's going to be the best of what he can do. Hamilton has really lost out to Leclerc in all of this. Got Giovinazzi between them as well. There's going to be a while before they catch Carlos Sainz, so really a lose out there for Hamilton, despite looking like he had the pace earlier on. Bottas now ahead of Ocon. Norris gets ahead of Ocon as well. He's got much younger tyres than the two racing points. And there you can see Perez has decided to come in for softs, I would imagine, at this late stage. Not much of a drama losing stuff, because he'll get out well ahead of Hulkenberg, which he does. Verstappen 6 seconds clear of Leclerc. And there you'll see Perez will get Ocon quite easily, I think. It's the two Toro Rosso swapping position. Albon getting past Kvyat again. And Hamilton still not able to do anything with Leclerc. And they've not pitted. I wondered if they would pit for softs at the last moment, but that's left them really quite wide open, I think. Because look, Perez already passed Ocon. Looks like Kevin Magnussen and Sainz having a good old squabble. And there's Perez, straight back past Norris. And there he is, back up to where he was before. But with still great tyres. And I wonder, Bottas might have left himself a little bit open to Sergio, potentially. Here's Vettel. 2.9 now behind Gasly. And look, Gasly's caught Hamilton as well. What has happened to Lewis Hamilton in the second half of this race? He was looking like he was teed up for a potential victory. Now he's struggling to stay on the podium as Pierre Gasly pops a lap on George Russell and just pushes Hamilton out of the way, and through he goes up into third. Hamilton's going to contest and fight that one back. I mean, they're both... Gasly has got better tyres, to be fair, but this has just not worked for Lewis Hamilton. And that's Perez passing Bottas. Wow. So my advice to everyone is pit, pit, pit. And stay on those soft tyres and do multiple stops. Because look, Gasly's going to get Leclerc as well now. And there he is, up into third position. About to become second at this rate. Vettel is all over the back of Hamilton too. And look, Gasly just pushes his way through. And Hamilton's going to lose to Vettel easily. Yep, there he is. And look, Perez is going to have the pair of them at this rate. Wow, Sergio Perez up into 5th place. This is nuts. Nutty driving. As Max Verstappen wins the race with the largest margin we've had all season. Pierre Gasly is going to end up in second. Only one stop. He did hard, and that worked out nicely for him. Leclerc is going to grab third. Perez into 4 ahead of Vettel. Hamilton loses out to Bottas as well. He really did fall off a cliff at the end. Norris was kind of similar, as was Ocon. There you can see the difference there. 20 seconds gained by Perez coming into the pits. Getting back in ahead of Ocon. Hülkenberg back in the top 10. Sainz, Raikkonen, not too bad for Alfa Romeo. Albon again, 13th for Toro Rosso. That later pit stop working for him. Ricciardo didn't quite see minute this race, did he? The two Hasses dropped back a little bit there. Giovinazzi, Kvyat again not really featuring too heavily. Russell ahead of Kubica. And what that does with Bottas's terrible race against Verstappen's great one is put Max into the championship lead. Wow. Vettel also keeping himself well within grasp. Gasly moves ahead of Lewis Hamilton, bizarrely. Leclerc's got a worry for Sergio Perez, who is well outperforming that racing point. Ocon and Norris will cross over 100 points surely next time by. Sainz not far behind with Ricciardo and Hülkenberg. Just keeping himself ahead of Raikkonen and Magnussen. Albon now moves ahead of Giovinazzi, who after a great couple of opening rounds in that Alfa Romeo hasn't done nearly as well since. Is actually looking like he may well be caught by Grosjean too. Kvyat desperate for some good results, I think. And that also pushes Red Bull ahead of Mercedes in the constructors. That is crucial and key. Alfa Romeo also nearly caught by Haas. So, Hungary next. It's all corners. So, surely that'll be a soft tyre win-win-win all the way through, you would think. And look, Verstappen beautifully out of the gates in the quali lap. Ahead of the Ferraris and Mercedes. Another great pole there for Verstappen ahead of the two Ferraris. Bottas, Gasly and Hamilton down in 6th. Not quite sure what happened there. Norris, best of the rest, ahead of Perez, Raikkonen, Sainz. Hülkenberg again out qualifying Ricciardo. Grosjean the best Haas. Albon the best Toro Rosso. Very close actually in the mid-pack. So... Verstappen's gone for hard tyres again this time around. It seems to be a pole sitter's curse at the minute. But he's held on to the lead just about. But the two Ferraris are all over the back. And look, Vettel immediately through, as is Leclerc. There is Bottas going through. And look, we're going to hit rain immediately. This will save those hard-shod tyred drivers, I think. Because it's the wrong move, in my humble opinion. And in comes everyone. But that has given Ferrari a great advantage in getting them into a 1-2. So, is Leclerc sneaky into the lead there. Well done, Charles. Gets ahead of Vettel. Just about doesn't overcook it. Bottas, that's Gasly and Verstappen side by side. I think Max is about to get through. No, he's not. Hamilton, Norris, Ocon, Raikkonen well up. Sainz, Ricciardo, Grosjean, Perez, Albon. Hülkenberg getting it wrong when holding up Giovinazzi. Magnussen and Kvyat side by side towards the back. Russell and Kubica bring up the rear. And is that Hamilton in trouble? Yeah, it is. Must have done an issue. Same with Verstappen. They've both dropped behind Norris and off the back of the other leading cars. So I think they might have hit each other. And after that very heavy downpour, albeit a brief one, we're coming back to dries. And look at Gasly again, showing some real form in that Red Bull. We clearly didn't see in the real world. Look at Norris! This game has some really bizarre AI tendencies. Losing it back out again and slops back down to 5th position. Still doing great for that McLaren. And look. A Mercedes either side. That's not a sandwich you might want to be in the middle of. Bottas gets ahead of Hamilton, overcooks it slightly. That's going to allow Hamilton through. And look, Norris doing the same thing. He likes to put his boost on mid-lap. Still not dry enough yet for dry tyres. And Leclerc still leads the way, although Vettel is closed in, as has Gasly. There's Bottas, Norris, Verstappen and Hamilton squabbling away. Ocon and Sainz next up, ahead of Raikkonen and Ricciardo. Grosjean doing well in 12. Of Perez and Albon. And that is our first pitters for dry tyres, and it's the two Williamses, and they've gone on to softs, the pair of them. Now, what will the leaders do? It's hards for Leclerc. It's hard. Softs for Gasly and for Bottas, Norris, Hamilton, Verstappen. I think the Ferrari may have done a real-world Ferrari strategy boo-boo. Grosjean on softs, as is Albon. This could work out nicely for them, depending on how everyone else goes. But look, Ferrari's under attack. Gasly's going to go through. On Vettel, is he? No, he's not. Excellent use of the boost by Vettel to keep himself into second. But there we go. Gasly immediately up into 2nd place now. Vettel trying to have a look, but he's already over on Leclerc and squeams through. Leclerc will be able to contend this for a while, but some good boost usage. There we go, that gets Gasly into the lead of this race. Gasly leads, head of the hard-shod Ferraris. Bottas now into 4th, then Norris, Hamilton, Verstappen, Sainz, Ocon, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Grosjean. That's Albon getting past Perez, I think. Hülkenberg, Kvyat on soft tyres as well, as is Magnussen. And that's Kubica, very early to be lapped by the Williamses, but there we go. I think they lost out. And that's Bottas getting past both Ferraris up into 2nd. We've now got a race on between Gasly and Bottas, I think, for this race win. Norris still holding up Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Great run by the McLaren driver, who I think is on the right strategy this time round, although Hamilton's going to go around the outside. Around the outside. Yep, up into 5th, ahead of Norris. There's signs Ocon. Lots of hard-shod tyres on Ricciardo and Raikkonen, keeping Albon and Grosjean at bay. Perez next. That's Kvyat having a go at Nico Hülkenberg. And through he goes. And then you can see just how the Toro Rosso runs out of steam on the old engine. So Gasly leads the way. He's still a second clear of Bottas. Bottas not closing in straight away, but they've caught up to Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. Past he goes, past Giovinazzi next. And that is Hamilton onto the back of Leclerc, and that's him through. That needed to happen. They passed Norris earlier on, and there he is past Vettel as well. This is really the time where soft tyres will have the best advantage over hards before it starts to come back. And then you kind of pit quickly to ensure you don't need to pit again. And I would go for softs again, frankly. If it was me. Bottas now under a second from Gasly. Ocon and Ricciardo have kept everyone at bay. That's Albon getting through into 11th ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. That's Grosjean in, first person to do his third stop. He gets onto soft tyres as well. Gasly follows suit, and that's another round of softs. I think that's the right way to go. And there he is, straight past teammate Max Verstappen, who's just not been in a position to do anything much today. And there he is, right onto the back of the Ferraris, and they push each other off. Caused by Gasly and the pendulum effect, and let's go straight through on Hamilton as well. This has worked out beautifully for Pierre. And look, he's gained as well. This will come back to haunt him slightly towards the end because he'll have one more lap of wear on his tyres. But Bottas is now behind these two Ferraris. He's passed one already. There he is getting past teammate Hamilton too. Next up Leclerc. But he's now 3 seconds behind as opposed to being 1. So he's back up into second. The proof is definitely in the pudding. Those Ferraris just keep tumbling back. Hamilton there comes back out in 6th place. His next attack will be Verstappen, who's also pitted. Norris too has pitted, as has Carlos Sainz. Ocon and Ricciardo have not though. And this is making great pickings for Romain Grosjean and Alexander Albon, who could potentially eye up top 10 finishes here if this goes well. Raikkonen next, then Perez. Kvyat, a slightly better day in that Toro Rosso team. Hülkenberg not having a great one though. Neither is K-Mag, neither is Giovinazzi either. 18th place. It's not worked out well at all for him. As Kimi and Perez come in, I think they're deciding to go for soft tyres, realising that the day has not gone for them. Hülkenberg too. And there we go, Verstappen up to 3rd, Hamilton into 4th. Norris has got round, and there you can see Ferrari have gone, crap, we needed to pit. And they've got slightly better, softer tyres than everyone else that came in earlier. Whether or not it's going to be enough to win it and win that advantage back is another matter. Everyone now on soft tyres through to the flag. So now you can see Grosjean and Albon 9 and 10. Ocon now with new tyres. Suddenly the hunter becomes the hunted with their new stuff. But either way, Grosjean and Albon running their best races to date, and Albon moves up into 9th position. That's worked out well for the Toro Rosso driver. Try and get some gap between him. There's Ricciardo in 11th. He fancies his top 10 back, and he gets it. Grosjean slipping down the field. Ocon next up to have a go, and there you can see this is all causing problems for Gasly, our leader. Bottas now up with them. Now, of course, they are on the older soft tyres. These guys are on new tyres. And so they're trying to basically get their advantage back because they have it tyre-wise instead of pace-wise. So it's causing issues for Gasly, and that is helping Bottas go around the outside. Pierre Gasly is not going to be winning this race at this rate. Bottas gets through. They're trying to put a lap on Albon. It is not working at all, as they all lap George Russell in the lagging Williams. Oh dear, that has not worked for Bottas at all. Verstappen into third, Hamilton now into fourth, Leclerc into fifth, with a couple of laps to go, and that's Leclerc back through on Lewis Hamilton. Is he going to get Verstappen as well? This is a great late charge by Leclerc, who, remember, they were the last ones to come in on the soft tyres, and it's strangely, well, it's not worked out that move, but now that he's passed Russell, it's strangely worked for them, hasn't it? So Bottas, Gasly, Leclerc, Hamilton. Verstappen was in early, wasn't he, for that last change, and I think that's going to cause him an issue. As through goes Hamilton. And there's Vettel saying, I'd quite like all of them, please. As they start the last lap. Across the line, sorry. And that is Bottas winning the day for Mercedes. Leclerc got Gasly at the end there for second and third. Really key. Hamilton and Vettel, Verstappen, Norris, Carlos Sainz. Ricciardo is going to get ninth ahead of Ocon. Then Kimi Raikkonen has got round, it looks like, Alexander Albon, who's going to lose out to Perez right at the flag, I think. Yeah, Perez gets it from Albon. Hülkenberg and Kvyat. Still a slightly better day for Toro Rosso than usual. Grosjean. It was looking so good for a potential top 10 for Grosjean, but he slipped down to 16th. Giovinazzi did get round Magnussen in the end, so Haas really struggling ahead of the two Williams boys. And that win puts Bottas back in front again, ahead of Verstappen. Vettel third, Gasly stays ahead of Hamilton, Leclerc stays sixth, pulling away somewhat now from Perez after that poor run from him. Norris, Ocon and Sainz. Raikkonen and Hülkenberg sticking together on the points. No big changes there. There's 1 point though between Mercedes and Red Bull for the Constructors' Championship, looking very juicy there. And Haas's poor performance let Alfa Romeo get away a little bit from them. And McLaren's decent day kind of sees them eating a little bit to Racing Point, but not too grand. So here we are at the, I'm not quite sure what French race track this is. I feel like I should know. But we're off and away on it anyway. It doesn't look like Paul Ricard to me. Hamilton there out in front. What's Kimi Raikkonen doing in fifth? Crazy run by the Alfa Romeo. Yeah, Alfa Romeo's Kimi Raikkonen, fifth position on the grid. Stunning stuff. 2 Racing Points 7 and 8. That will do them nicely. Norris, Gasly down in 10. Not a great day. Good day for Magnussen though in 11th. And well, Danny Kvyat having a torrid time there down in 19th. Albon in 17th. That Honda engine not helping out that team at all. Okay, so we're starting off everyone on wet tyres. This has been a proper soggy season. Hamilton leads the way from Verstappen, but runs a little bit wide, and that will get Verstappen back through into the lead. Kubica there having a trouble off the line. well off the back of everyone else. As Leclerc has a go at Hamilton, pushes him off wide. Raikkonen losing out 2 by running wide. Vettel now doing the same, as is Gasly and everyone else trying to plough through. Kvyat's had a good start from what was 19th up to about 15th, 16th now. Hamilton having a look at Verstappen, doing to him what he did the previous lap. Looking very good there. Then Leclerc and Vettel and co. Going to start drying out soon. Sainz has had a good run up the order into 6th. Raikkonen and co. And they can see Leclerc's got round the 2 Mercedes. Or has he? Vettel down to 5th briefly. But those 5 all well clear of the rest. They take a couple of laps of drying. Hülkenberg up to 6th. That's the best race that we've seen for him for a while. Gasly, Sainz, Raikkonen still up there. Ocon, Norris. Kevin Magnussen running well in 12 ahead of Albon and Perez. Giovinazzi really putting Perez to bed there. As Magnussen and Ocon go at it too. Perez trying to make a comeback there on Giovinazzi. And that's George Russell still ahead of Romain Grosjean somehow. Ooh, and that's why, because loads of drivers keep catching themselves on the exit. Too skiddy. As Ricciardo gets back past Kvyat. Up front though, it is Verstappen leading the way from Bottas. Hamilton, Vettel, Leclerc down in 5th place after what was looking like potentially a decent little running margin. And that's how you can see people overtaking quite nicely as the tyres get worner and worner. Hülkenberg losing out there this time, drops down to 10th. This is going to be all about the power play of who hits who where. And I was going to say, do you want to pit? But the answer is going to be no, because it's going to be raining again. And that was just in time to stop people pitting, because I think the leaders would have all come in then otherwise. Bottas, Hamilton, Vettel, Leclerc. The 2 McLarens going side by side. It's staying wet for this race. So this is going to be one of the more interesting strategies, because people are going to have to pit soon. 12 laps for wet tyres. Okay, so you can go quite a way. Look at that, Hülkenberg in a McLaren sandwich. Norris gets out ahead of that one. Nicely done. There's Hülkenberg then losing out. Norris gets back through. Sainz drops a bit as well. Albon up to 11th. Having a grand time of things. Of course, as the tyre wear now really falls off, this is where Toro Rosso should in theory do well. Giovinazzi still battling with Perez after all this time. They've got around Ocon, the pair of them. Ricciardo slips down to 15th. It's not been his run of the race so far. Kevin Magnussen and Kvyat next up. Russell still ahead of Romain Grosjean in the battle over 18th and 19th. And here's our leading duo. They've got well clear of the Vettel and Hamilton squabble, which has got really ugly by the looks of it there. Hamilton's going to have a go. And so's Verstappen on Bottas to keep his lead going. Ricciardo's got past Ocon there. Grosjean's got round Russell. Oh, not for long. Looks like they've just gone into turn 1 side by side, and that's let Grosjean get through. Starting to become cloudy and therefore potentially drier again. You can see Vettel's now behind Leclerc. It's changing all the time, every race, as it does here in this game. Gasly all on his own in 6th. There's Norris, Hülkenberg and Sainz still close together. Looks like Sainz fancies a go. Nicely done. McLaren 7 and 8, they would love that. Especially with the racing points currently down in 14th and 15th. Battling now with Ocon. There's Magnussen putting Kvyat in the gravel. That was harsh. There's Grosjean there. Now well clear of Russell, but Russell causing problems for the Ferrari drivers. And they've really lost touch there now to Lewis Hamilton. Big drama and trouble for him. as out comes the sunshine, and that's just in time because these tyres are starting to get very, very slippery. And you can see Benny Kvyat about to go a lap down on the Red Bull. Hamilton, Leclerc, Vettel, Gasly, Albon catching up to Kimi Raikkonen for 10th and 11th. And here we go. Here's people in. This is too early for dries, I would have thought. Hamilton, Ricciardo and Co. There you go. Magnussen, Bottas. They're all going round again, and I don't blame them. That's way too early. Oh, Hamilton's gone for hard tyres as well. I don't think this will work. Now you can see. Oh, and the rain's coming again. No. Hamilton, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Ocon, Perez. They've all come in too early. The rain is coming, and that's given permission for everyone to come in and switch their wet tyres that were knackered, basically. Leclerc keeps going on the wets, so he goes into the lead. Bottas then winning the way in those that have stopped. Sebastian Vettel, then Verstappen. There's Norris. He's not pitted either, now moves up into 5th place. I wonder if he's thinking, is this going to be a really tiny run of things and can I hold on? I think that kind of hope will come and go very quickly as they try and make their way around George Russell. Leclerc still not pitting. And that's because dry weather is now coming. So can you make another pit stop early? Again, I think it's too early to do anything. So Albon didn't pit, Raikkonen didn't pit either, Hülkenberg's not. And there they're in. What are they doing? They've gone on to new wets for Kubica and for Albon. Ooh, I'm not sure that's going to work. Raikkonen and Giovinazzi have not pitted either. And there's Leclerc, he's back out on soft tyres. It is early. Oh, but it is staying dry. I don't think this is going to work. Look at how slow they are. I can kind of see now why Albon and Co did pit. And there we go. The two Alfa Romeos are in. Raikkonen soft tyres. Giovinazzi will be soft as well, I would imagine. Yep. So look at how much Leclerc has lost out. Now he's going to be fine with everyone coming in. You can see Grosjean in, Norris and Sainz in. Hülkenberg had already been in. He's only done one pit stop, amazingly. I think he might struggle to make those tyres last. And here comes Gasly, Hamilton. Verstappen's done 3 stops. Leclerc just the 1. Vettel on 2. And look at, well, it's worked out for Vettel, hasn't it? And it's worked out beautifully for Valtteri Bottas. 4 seconds clear of Vettel. Then it's Leclerc, who I think might run into tyre issues. Verstappen is then next. Then we've got Hamilton and Gasly. 6 and 7, there's Norris. Sainz 8, Hülkenberg 9. Raikkonen into 10, Giovinazzi 11. Albon 12th, so still running well in the Toro Rosso despite having all of those pit issues. Ricciardo 13. Perez, Magnussen, Kvyat. Ocon down in 17th. This has not gone well for Racing Point. Then Grosjean, Russell and Kubica well off the pace. Bottas losing out somewhat as he's trying to lap traffic. But he's still got plenty of a gap. Hamilton and Gasly squabbling over 5th and 6th place. A real surprise for me. Norris best of the rest. But here is Sainz versus Hülkenberg, and that is Nico Hülkenberg taking the place. Hülkenberg's best race for some time this season. Looking like he'll be well planted in a top 10 place, but he's got less tyres to play with compared to Sainz, so he just needs to really chill that one out a little bit if he can. Alfa Romeos have made themselves into good places as well with 10 and 11 by only stopping the once. And well, the tyre wear may not be an issue now because here comes the rain. Giovinazzi absolutely buggering that up. As Verstappen and Leclerc go at it for third. As out comes everyone for tyres. I've seen more bargee in an onion than what we've seen with these two. So Bottas maintains his lead with the wet tyres. Vettel in 2. And this will basically see the race finish as a wet tyred race. So there's Verstappen, Leclerc. Hamilton's well clear now of Gasly. Norris all on his own as Sainz. He's got a gap over Hülkenberg. Wow, what a terrible day for Racing Point. Easily their worst of the season. I don't think it's going to get much better for them because this now kind of equalises everything. As Hülkenberg makes a bit of a pig's ear of letting Bottas by. Bottas starts his last lap well clear. I think we're sorted for all of the top positions. But we're kind of sorted for everything. The best battle is Magnussen there losing out to Esteban Ocon. So that was that. Grosjean, despite being stuck behind George Russell that time, is only 3 seconds behind Magnussen. So not a good day for Haas either as they end up 17 and 18. But it's a great day for Valtteri Bottas and his championship challenge. He wins the race. Vettel gets second. Verstappen third. Keeps Leclerc at bay at 4. Hamilton stays 5. And Gasly, Norris, Sainz. So a great day for McLaren. Good day for Renault's Nico Hülkenberg, 9th. And a good day for Alfa Romeo, 10th for Raikkonen. 12th for Giovinazzi, if he can hold it. And season's best for Alex Albon in 11th as well. Toro Rosso finally starting to show some pace. Ricardo not grand. Racing Point having their worst run, 14th and 16th with a Kvyat sandwich. And then the Haas's and Williams's rounding out the rear. Bottas there pulling out a bit of an advantage over Verstappen and Vettel. Gasly only 1 point ahead of Hamilton after he clawed that back a little bit, but Leclerc claws back a little bit on both of them. Such a weird thing to see Hamilton in 5th. Sainz leapfrogs Ocon in the Racing Point versus McLaren battle. Ricciardo trailing there. Hülkenberg's now ahead of Raikkonen after all that little squabble, only by a point though. And Albon closing in now on Kevin Magnussen as Haas start to fall back. And Kvyat starting to home in a little bit on Romain Grosjean. That allows Mercedes an 11-point advantage over Red Bull. Ferrari is still there, but it's quite clear that they seem to be just running in the third best team at the moment. They need a bit of luck. McLaren eating into Racing Point a little bit there. And Toro Rosso eating into Haas. So all to play for across different tiers of the game. And now we're off for our crazy retro race. We're off to Zandvoort, but because it's a historic track, you'll see that there are some hay bales around. And those hay bales, when the drivers hit them, they move and they stay on the track. So whilst it's Zandvoort in layout for the Dutch Grand Prix, as you can see with that hay bale, if one of those hay bales gets a little bit dislodged in the wrong place, it could be a drama. But this is looking great for Pierre Gasly, who once again looks like he's going to do an absolutely stonking run, but loses out over the line to the two Mercedes. Yes, he does. So Gasly, then Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris getting ahead of Vettel, who didn't have a great run. Ricciardo in the top 10, as is Raikkonen, sandwiched by the racing points. 2 Hasses ahead of Hülkenberg. And George Russell ahead of Alex Albon. Not a good run there by the Toro Rossos in quali again. But Hamilton starting on the hard tyres, as is Gasly. I think this might be problematic. I feel like I'm saying this every race. I'm sorry if I am. Look at that. Into the fence goes lots of people. It's these ones that actually cause more of an issue as the tyres get worn or wear more down the straight. Hamilton back into second ahead of Leclerc. Look at Danny Ricciardo. 4th position. If he can clear Hamilton, that will be beautiful. And indeed he does. He lets Verstappen through as well. This is great for Renault. It is Ferrari 1, Mercedes 2, Renault 3, Red Bull 4. And it looks like it's about to be a McLaren 5. Oh, not for long. Raikkonen fancied to look through. And look at Danny Ricciardo up into 2nd place. Beautiful stuff there in that Renault. Sainz there gets ahead of Hamilton too. Verstappen gets back past Hamilton yet again. He's kept him up behind. There's Perez and Raikkonen having a go. Norris. Hülkenberg trying to recover from his start position. He has. He's now into 10. Albon from the back row of the grid. Now up to 13. Battling with Kevin Magnussen though. Grosjean's there. Russell's ahead of Giovinazzi and Kvyat as well as his teammate. So there you can see soft tyres really helping out. As there's Verstappen getting back past Danny Ricciardo. We know that Red Bull is better than the Renault, and that was a bit of an opportunistic move by Ricciardo, but it's worked. Next time take the grass. Crumbs. Not seen a Renault look this competitive all season long, so it's great to see. Perez past Hamilton as well. Raikkonen and Norris and Hülkenberg looking like they're trying to size up the Mercedes driver whilst they've got the tyre advantage. Ooh, Perez there losing out in the hay bales a little bit as Verstappen gets back past Ricciardo. Ooh, Raikkonen being absolutely mullered by Norris and Hülkenberg, and actually that ends up badly for Norris as they get pushed into the hay bales. Same there for Hülkenberg on that time. And can you see they're starting to look a little bit angular onto the circuit a little bit. Grosjean's okay. As Russell drops behind Giovinazzi and Kvyat. So this is where the hard tyres start to pull back their advantage somewhat. And can you see there Perez now holding up Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton trying to go around the outside, but is given a face of hay. The AI in this game. As that's Kevin Magnussen showing Vettel a face full of hay as well. But Vettel now gets back through, up into 12th. Russell looking quite sad there as Bottas laps Mr. Kubica in his Williams. And that's Hamilton disposing of Perez. 6th position, nicely done. George Russell first into the pits, and there's a collection of other soft-tyred runners, and they're all coming out as hard tyres again. So this is going to be a reverse-a-roo, really. I mean, they've... Oh, what's happened to Hülkenberg? He's been in the pits twice. Are we having Hülkenberg have the same issue that... I think we have. We've got Hülkenberg having the same issue that Raikkonen had at Monaco. And this is going to be problematic because Bottas and Leclerc go battling for the lead. Carlos Sainz yet to pit in the McLaren in 3rd, looking good. Ooh, George Russell getting in the way. But they've kind of made it work, and Leclerc back in the lead. Sainz pits now from 3rd position. So that's put Verstappen into 3rd, Ricciardo to 4, Hamilton to 5, who's yet to pit. So has a tyre disadvantage. That Sainz back out on hard tyres. He's gone longer than everyone else though, so that's interesting. And look, Hulkenberg causing problems there for Esteban Ocon. That's put him right under attack from Alex Albon. And Albon's got new tyres. Ocon has old. So it's not going to be a good day at the office by the looks of it for one Renault. Ooh, and look, Leclerc getting stuck behind. And Verstappen, who'd got past Bottas. This is going to be a crazy race, isn't it? Hulkenberg down at last. And look, Sainz gets stuck behind. Russell is stuck. Oh, and so's Hamilton. And look, it's causing a bit of a pile up as they're all trying to get round and through. Come on, Russell, you can get through. Oh, this has not worked out well for the Williams driver. Eventually he gets round and through. Remember, guys, there is a left and a right button to drive. Albon there gets round as well. Oh, that's such a shame. Kubica into the pits. Up front, though, it is Hulkenberg. And look, Bottas clipped Verstappen. Hulkenberg, Verstappen there, keeping a watching brief. Hamilton pits and is onto soft tyres, as is Gasly. Feels quite early, 11 laps, and they run for 12. I suppose you could do a 6 and 6 maybe, but it feels early. Kvyat in as well for Toro Rosso. What's he doing? Softs 2. But Charles Leclerc leads the way for Ferrari. And there he is, popping a lap on teammate Vettel, who's come out with soft tyres as well. He won't want to stay a lap behind. Ooh, problems, and that's Bottas into the lead. The drama prevails. Ricciardo running in fourth, having a great run of things. Perez in 5-2. Then it's Sainz and Norris, both doing great. Kvyat, Raikkonen into 8th. Hamilton then on soft tyres now in 9th. Look at the speed. Oh, look at what's happened with Hulkenberg. Everyone's stuck. And look, Hamilton gets past Kimi Raikkonen with all of that. This is frankly ridiculous. That has ruined Kimi Raikkonen's race. There's Magnussen, Vettel trying to unlap himself from the Bottas, Verstappen and Leclerc gaggle. Oh, and that's Leclerc into the wall. And with big problems. And look, they're just having to smack. Oh, and that's problems for Verstappen. Trying to get round Hulkenberg, who... Kimi didn't cause this much problems around Monaco. What on earth? But it is Bottas then now leading the way, and here comes the rain. Well, that's going to sort out anyone who'd gone early on the soft tyres. Hamilton's got himself up to 6th. Perez has come into the pits for wets. I feel like they're a smidgy bit early, but I think everyone will come in anyway. Yeah, that's kind of ruined it for some of the people who were looking like they were going to have a real good time on those wet tyres. On those soft tyres. Doesn't look like it's going to help Hulkenberg get going either. So there is Hulkenberg. He is on wet tyres. Oh, Giovinazzi getting caught out there. But Leclerc then leads the way from Verstappen. Sorry, Bottas leads away from Leclerc and Verstappen. Ricciardo still doing fantastically in 4th. Oh, he's going to want to sort that out very quickly because Perez is coming in. He's through. Now Perez is stuck behind him. What a race. Albon and Giovinazzi, they've lost so much time. Albon really, really losing out here. Through goes Sainz. Next up's going to be Norris. Albon there spending basically a lap behind that guy, and that's let Romain Grosjean through up into 13th. K-Mag is up into 12th. This is looking great for Haas. They're having an almighty day. Vettel there in 11. Oh, what is going on? Leclerc gets through. Verstappen's now stuck. You've got to laugh, haven't you? Great game, great game. I've never had this problem before. There's Magnussen getting through into 12. But Bottas then 2 seconds clear of Leclerc. There's Verstappen. Daniel Ricciardo having a fantastic run in 4th place. If he can hold that, that would be great. Goes some way to repaying the fact that Hulkenberg's going to get absolutely diddly squat. So here comes Bottas, and he's going to end up stuck, but that's helped out Grosjean. Well, Grosjean's helped him rather get through. Grosjean laps himself. Enough of that, Romain. But through he goes. Leclerc is there or thereabouts, but not close enough, and Bottas is going to be winning this race. A frankly bizarre race. He wins, Leclerc gets 2nd, Verstappen will come home in 3rd. Danny Ricciardo, stunning race to get home 4th in the Renault, best race of the season for him. Perez is going to hold off Hamilton, or is he? It's going to go to the line, but Perez does it. Ahead of Hamilton, then Sainz and Norris, and McLaren doing good. Gasly, that's Raikkonen doing well, Vettel, and then the 2 Hasses of Magnussen and Grosjean. That's probably Haas's best joint finish of the lot, with 12th and 13th, so well done to them. Beating home the 2 Toro Rossos, Ocon 15th in the Racing Point, ahead of Giovinazzi, Russell, Kubica, Hulkenberg, nil point, as I say in Eurovision. Not a great day at the office for him. Bottas though, 20 points now his advantage over Verstappen, and then Hamilton into 4th ahead of Gasly now. But look, they're falling away by the wayside here in the battle for the championship. It's starting to really look like it's a potentially 2, maybe 3 horse race if you include Vettel in the background. Leclerc has caught up Hamilton and Gasly though, which is interesting. Ricciardo's got ahead of Ocon with all of that, moves into 10th in the championship. And Grosjean did not leapfrog Giovinazzi, but it's interesting that they're kind of closing in. Russell now with 12 points, Kubica with 4. Not always the wooden spoon today. I could say Mercedes and Red Bull still close in the constructors. Anyone's game between really the 3. You could still include Ferrari in this one. Elsewhere it's still looking juicy for the battle for Haas and Toro Rosso for 8th and 9th. Off to Spa and Belgium next. Well, this doesn't really look too much like. it at all. So this should be a good one for any of the engines that are well tuned, which Gasly is slightly ruining my perceptions of. And Leclerc gets a nice and easy pole position there. Great run. There's a couple of mistakes it looked like towards the back of the field. But some bizarre results there. Carlos Sainz 3rd in the McLaren. Norris 7th in the other one. Great run by them. Mercedes, Bottas down in 8th. Not quite sure what happened there. Goes in the front row. Giovinazzi 11th. I think that's his best of the season. Haas 12th and 14th. The great runs by them. And a great run by George Russell to 17th on the grid, beating out Kvyat and Nico Hulkenberg, having a torrid time in that Renault. He'll have to make up for that come race day. And here we are at race day. And there's a lot of soft-tired people out front. It's Verstappen, Grosjean, Ricciardo and stuff all on the hards. So that's going to let the soft people get away up front. So Gasly leads from Leclerc. Very French. But here comes the rain immediately again. The soggy season continues and everyone will just dive straight in. And that's going to save Verstappen. And it will save Grosjean, Ricciardo, Kvyat, Hulkenberg and Russell after that great start, ending up crossing the line last. But that does and will fan everyone out a little bit. Oh, Norris being punted off by Perez. Oh, and this has all gone a bit off rally fun for Norris. Terrible lap by him. Verstappen, K-Mag and Grosjean 11th and 12th doing a good job as Albon gets round Ikonen. Ricciardo just behind. Kubica battling with Hulkenberg. Enjoy that whilst it lasts. Of which it's lasted all the way down this straight. What's going on? There we go. Oh no! Roberto Kubica. What are you doing, lad? Great stuff. As here we are, back into dry tyres again, and it's a mix. Hamilton went round again on the wets. I don't think that's going to work. Gasly hards. There's a real mixture going on here. This is going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out. Various drivers all spinning through. In comes Hamilton. Oh, I don't think that's going to have worked in his favour at all. He's come out on hard tyres. And there you can see, out in third. Leclerc leads then on softs. Gasly, Hamilton, Bottas, they're all on hards. Perez soft, Vettel soft, Sainz and Norris on softs. Verstappen's on hards. Perhaps because there's quite long straights here, it's going to be less of a drama for them all. Kubica's still ahead of Hulkenberg as well. I'm loving this. But look, Gasly, on that slipstream, you're able to do so much with the slipstream and then try and use the boost as a advantage to get through as well. Hard-tired Gasly takes the lead. Maybe softs aren't the extreme advantage we thought here. Ooh. That would ruin your I rating. Leclerc gets through. And that's Perez taking Carlos Sainz for 4th position. Vettel closing in on the pair. And they're all closing in on Bottas. He doesn't look like he's quite got the pace there. But he is on hard tyres. And there you can see Leclerc now much more. But again, look at the way how the slipstream works. It's just because Bottas doesn't have the slipstream. He's being eaten up by Vettel, who's gone horribly off wide, and that's going to allow Carlos a good go. Hamilton, Norris. Ocon's got Verstappen for company. That's Kevin Magnussen on hard tyres in 11th, still doing great. Giovinazzi, much better run by him, up in 12th. Soft tyres, Albon, Grosjean, Kvyat. Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Hulkenberg now ahead of Kubica. And there's Russell, and they're about to be popped a lap down very shortly by Charles Leclerc. Or are they? They've got stuck slightly. There we go, he's through now. I hope better blue flag and lapping actions come for Ultimate Racing 2D. Or Ultimate 2D Racing, whichever way round it is. 2, the revenge. Yeah, the Renaults, 17th and 18th. This is not a good day for them at the moment. Could all change. Could all change. But Leclerc pulling away then from Bottas, Gasly into third. There's Perez, Vettel, Sainz, Norris. Hamilton now down in 8th with those hard tyres. It won't be too long before those softs start to be problematic. And in fact, in come Vettel and Sainz. Are they going to go for hards or are they going to go for another soft? Hards. Okay. Unsafe pit exit, anybody? Problematic. They're out ahead of Verstappen though, and with new tyres, so that's going to be juicy for them. Perez in this time by? No. Neither's Norris. They're staying out. Which makes me think they're probably going to try another set of softs, if I'm honest. Same with Leclerc. Most are on hards, to be fair. So that's Danny Kvyat in. What's he swapping to? Another set of softs. I think that shows the way, as here's Leclerc in. Yep. Softs for Leclerc. Softs for Perez. Norris goes around again. You'd be silly if you didn't do softs now, I think. So, Bottas versus Gasly for second and third. Something tells me they're going to pit and go for softs at the end of this race as well. Probably in the next about 4 laps time, something like that. Look at Leclerc! Wow! I have all of the pace plus. Straight in and through. Beautifully done. As they lap Kvyat. This has basically pulled them back into Gasly again. Championship winning driving by Bottas potentially. As they try and get round Pierre Gasly. And that's Leclerc through on Bottas. Bottas runs out wide. And that's Leclerc back through. Now this could all go a different way later on. But for now the hard-tired runners are staying out. Perez then up into fourth. Also soft running. Gets past Vettel in hards. There's Hamilton in sixth. Old hards. Sainz 7. Slightly newer hards. There's Norris. Ocon stuck trying to lap Hulkenberg, who's still 18th, and Ricciardo's still there as well. As the Williams' pit for softs. Gasly's in for softs. Oh, something's gone wrong for Romain Grosjean. A great run of races and it's all gone horribly wrong. He's missed the pits. Is he going to get back going again? Yes, he does. He'll have to come through next time by, but that has ruined the race there for Grosjean. Looks like he's in trouble, to be fair. Look at Raikkonen go on his new soft tyres. Kevin Magnussen doing a much better job of it. But let's go back up the front because I think Gasly's going to make hay. So his first driver to get round will be Sergio Perez, who's got himself up into a podium position in all of this as they pop a lap on Robert Kubica. Watch out for Bottas. Looking good. There's Raikkonen in and through. Grosjean has now pitted. And look at Gasly now onto the back and round the outside of Vettel. Beautifully done. There's Leclerc. He's got older soft tyres. This isn't over, I don't think, yet. Gasly and Bottas could very well close him down. Vettel, I think, is going to end up being mullered. There's Perez. Sainz up into sixth in hard tyres for now, but that's only because Hamilton pitted. I think we'll see Hamilton absolutely rummage through. Yeah, look, K-Mag trying to unlap himself from Carlos Sainz. And I see Bottas is up with Gasly and he's through. Gasly saying no, thank you very much. Gives a little love nudge from behind and through and up into second position again. Bottas down to third. His main rival Vettel, though, is 4 and Verstappen is 8. So this is still a win, really, for Bottas in terms of his nearest rivals. Hamilton again 6th. This has not been his season, has it? That Sainz in trouble with Verstappen. But Verstappen's in trouble with Kevin Magnussen. He's got through now, though. Norris isn't going to be able to trouble him. He's got Holder soft tyres. So Verstappen should get Sainz. And whilst the gap is closing between Leclerc and Gasly, I think there's not going to be enough with 1 lap to go for anything to change there. Good squabble for the last place for Kubica and Russell. And there you see Verstappen there getting past everyone. And in comes the rain. I don't know why Russell is I don't know why they're all pitting for the rain. It's the checkered flag. Ricciardo in as well. But that is Leclerc wins the race for Ferrari. Well done. Great stuff there. Gasly second. Bottas is third. Vettel will end up in 4th, Hamilton 5, Perez 6. Verstappen gets 7 ahead of Sainz, Norris, Ocon. It looks like Albon will end up 11th despite this extreme pummelling, as long as he can get round. Now, did those people pitting right at the end, did they make up anything? No, they didn't. They were already lapped, weren't they? So, fascinating stuff there. Verstappen there's really lost out on his championship run against Bottas. Although Leclerc's the real big winner here, and I think that will see him go up the order on the championship rankings. Good day for Racing Point. 6 for Perez, 10 for Ocon. The McLarens both in the top 10 again as well. Albon, another good run to 11th in the Toro Rosso. Giovinazzi is best for a while, 12th for Alfa Romeo. Magnussen again doing a fine job. Better, and it was looking great for Grosjean as well until that pit stop issue where he tried to get into the pits and hit the barrier and had to go round again. Lost a lot of time. What on earth happened to Renault? 4th position in Zandvoort, 16th here for Ricciardo, and Hülkenberg was nowhere near, battling with the Williamses. Russell did beat Kubica though in the end, after Kubica showed probably his most competitive actual racing prowess all season. There you can see Bottas 28 clear now, and that's basically an entire race ahead of Verstappen, Vettel, Gasly. Leclerc does indeed get ahead of Hamilton, equal on points with Gasly. I'd have thought, I don't think Gasly's won anything, so Leclerc should really be in ahead of that on count back. And Perez still ahead of the 2 McLarens. Ricciardo still 10th, just about ahead of Ocon. Albon homing in on Magnussen, who's homing in actually on Hülkenberg, who's had a bit of a lull. Kvyat not able to do much on Grosjean there either. And that's helped Mercedes versus Red Bull with Verstappen's poor result there. So that keeps them in the frame, and it brings Ferrari slightly more back into it again, which is of interest. So the final round for this episode. We're off to Italy. It's all about the straight lines and the braking, to be fair. So what can Ferrari do on home soil? It's looking good at the moment. Oh, it's not looking so good now. Hamilton breaks well into the front. Hamilton desperate to try and do something this season. It's been an awful run for him. Perez doing fantastically well in the Racing Point too. You see how they all kind of sped up when they went over the line? Very strange. Maybe that was just me. Hamilton though, a clear pole position from Vettel, Bottas and co. Perez a stunning 4th. Ricciardo up in 8th. Raikkonen in 10th. So a good day for the other Italian branded team, even though they're Swiss. They're still Sauber to me. Albon 13th. That's the best we've had for Toro Rosso for a little bit. Hülkenberg again down the order. 2 Williamses at the back. I wondered if they'd be a little bit better. Everyone's starting on wet tyres because the rains are coming. And it's Hamilton leading the way. Oh, and that's gone horribly wrong for Perez. It's gone worse for Grosjean. Pummeled down to last place for the French driver in the Haas. No one's on the track at all. What's going on there? It's because the rain's coming now. I think because they knew the rain was starting. Oh, now it's going to get dry. Anyone going to chance it and come in straight away? Dunno, but Hamilton leads the way. Not for long. Vettel gets it back. No, everyone goes round again. I reckon you might see people win on lap 3, not this one, because it's still in theory raining. But that is worked out beautifully for Hamilton. Then it's Vettel, Bottas. Oh, Leclerc off into the gravel. That's not worked out well. Gasly gets through. Perez trying to recover from a poor start. There's everyone else kind of diving through. Giovinazzi there into the gravel, as is Hülkenberg having a rough ride of it. Grosjean's already got round both Williamses, and that's Vettel getting round Hamilton for the lead. Tifosi be damned. And look, now everyone's come in. I think Bottas has made the right call here. Perez I don't think has. He really should have been in. Same with Hulkenberg, he hasn't either. But I suppose it's nice to have him up front. And a difference of opinions for tyres. This could work out nicely for Albon. And Toro Rosso, 12th position. Plenty of drivers still to pit for wet tyres. In they all come. Are they going to lead the way? Yep. Vettel still ahead of Hamilton and Bottas. There's Verstappen, Gasly. Signs in the gravel. That's not a good look. Ricciardo, though, gets past both McLarens, or does he? It's 3 wide in Lesmo too. You don't get that in real life. It's the McLarens that had the bigger balls that time. As Ricciardo then gets back past Sainz. That's Raikkonen getting past everyone. Crazy run there. As Sainz loses out again. Looks like he's about to lose out to Albon. No, he doesn't. Perez there tries to recover back through. Up front, though, it is Vettel leading Bottas, leading Hamilton, who is on hard tyres, interestingly. We'll see how that one plays out. Leclerc, Verstappen's also on hard tyres as he drops behind teammate Gasly. Ricciardo's on hard tyres, amazingly, too, as Raikkonen gets through. Norris on hard tyres, looking quite feisty as well. It's not as clear-cut so early on in this session. Kvyat up into 13th as well. My goodness, he needs a good result. 2 Hasses down the back. Ocon down the back too. There's Russell. And that is Bottas taking the lead from Vettel. Leclerc's got round Hamilton as well. Hamilton's had a torrid lap as they try and pop a lap on the hard-shod Russell. Look at that, Vettel slaloming his way through the traffic, and Bottas to take the lead. Next up in 19th place is Esteban Ocon. Kubica's ahead of him. There's Leclerc, Gasly, Hamilton down to 5th, and look, it's time for rain. People have come in again a bit early, I think, for wet tyres, but you might as well. There's our leaders all in, just as the rain hits actually. Here we go, so it's worked out perfectly for them. Vettel, Bottas, and look, Bottas just able to steam through and get into the lead. And immediately it's going to be back to dry, so it's just a tiny little splattering. We've seen this before though, where people might come in a bit too early. Oh, K-Mag really wrong-footed there down in 17th as he goes a lap down. There's Gasly popping a lap on Kubica as Leclerc battles on for 3rd. Hamilton in trouble. And there we go, it's back to rain again, so it's a good job no one did pit. Ricciardo down to 11. Hulkenberg 14th. Albon and Kvyat 12th and 13th. So again, Toro Rosso versus Haas in that battle for 8th in the Constructors. It's going the way of Toro Rosso this time around. But Bottas, wet weather, he's out front, surprisingly. Leclerc trying to close back down on Vettel. There's Gasly. There's Hamilton, 5th position. Verstappen 6th. And again, with Verstappen down in 6th, this is all just gravy for Valtteri Bottas. It needs to be Vettel who's going to put a fight on Bottas if he's going to try and claw in anything as we go into the final third of the season. Oh, Danny Kvyat sent out there twice in 3 corners. And does it of his own accord straight afterwards. And there's Bottas in trouble because there's Vettel through and into the lead. We know, I was going to say we know the slipstream effect is huge in this game, and that is showing exactly how good it is, but it overcooks you for the next corner. George Russell going a 2nd lap down. It's not worked out well for the Brit, 8 seconds off his teammate at the moment. As we start to have a drying track, Bottas gets lapped by Albon. Oh, sorry, Bottas laps Albon. Get it right. Looking further back, Verstappen still in 6th, Sainz on his own in 7, then Perez, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Norris in 11, Albon 12, Kvyat 13, Hülkenberg 14, then it's Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Magnussen. Ocon's had a horrid time down in 18th place. I don't know what's happened to him, really. Kubica's just behind him. And there's Russell, soft tyres, people are coming in. And here they come, the leading duos, and it's Vettel ahead of Bottas as they come into the pits. Leclerc third. They're all out in softs. They should be, because there's plenty of tyres to get us through to the flag. Hülkenberg, the last one to switch. That will have lost him some time. Indeed, it leaves us in positions. Giovinazzi and Magnussen get through on Hülkenberg. And there's Seb Vettel leading the way in a Ferrari 1-2. Bottas now down in 3rd, losing out in the traffic, trying to get round Lando Norris. Interestingly, Gasly then has got Hamilton for company. Verstappen looks nowhere here. So, back up front. Vettel's got Leclerc for company. He's not able to do anything with Kimi Raikkonen, is Seb Vettel. Looking bizarre. We saw this in an earlier race. And there we go. Now Vettel looking... No, he's not. He can't do it. There we go. Now he uses the boost to get through. Because look, Bottas is coming. And Ferrari are about to throw away a 1-2 if they don't do something quick. They're trying to lap Ocon. It's Ocon that's the bottle cork here, as Leclerc takes the lead by getting round Ricciardo and Ocon at the same time. Beautifully done. Vettel still struggling with Ocon, as is Ricciardo, to be fair. And what that's done is basically give... I was going to say, it's given Bottas a slipstream. He didn't need it. He just nudges Vettel out of the way. The disrespect is strong. Ooh, and that's Magnussen in trouble. And that could well have just saved Charles Leclerc, depending on what happens with Nico Hülkenberg now. In fact, Hülkenberg getting in the way. They're coming up to Giovinazzi, of which Hülkenberg would quite like to overtake as well, I think. And that's worked out nicely for Leclerc. He's got through on Giovinazzi, clean out of turn 1. Vettel pushed into the gravel. That's the end of the day of running for the win for him. Hamilton's got round Gasly off screen as well. And here comes Charles Leclerc. It's a Ferrari win on home soil. But it's the wrong Ferrari in the championship battle. Leclerc wins ahead of Bottas and Vettel. Hamilton 4th. Gasly 5th. Verstappen 6th. Red Bull just not able to cope on those high speed straights. Perez best of the rest for 7 ahead of Carlos Sainz. Danny Ricciardo. Kimi Raikkonen looks like he's going to get 10 ahead of Norris. And then Albon in 12th ahead of Kvyat 13. Good day for Toro Rosso-ish. Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Ocon, an awful run to 18th. I don't know what's happened there. But there's no pace even on lap times, you can see. Kubica and Russell. So, interesting stuff there. So, as we enter into the final episode next time by, Bottas there with over a win's advantage over Max Verstappen. Vettel in 3rd, Leclerc closing him down though in 4th, pulling away from Gasly in 5, and Hamilton slips down to 6th by a point. Or stays in 6th by a point? I can't remember. Anyway, Perez then 7 ahead of Norris and Sainz, and basically he's propping up now Racing Point somewhat with Ricciardo there in 10. Ocon now down to 11. Raikkonen doing well in 12 ahead of Hülkenberg. Albon moves ahead of Kevin Magnussen, 14th and 15th. Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Kvyat, Russell and Kubica. And there we go in the constructors. It's less clear cut than it is at the moment in the drivers, but it's Mercedes ahead of Red Bull and Ferrari. Ferrari coming at Red Bull strong, and at the same time they're reeling in Mercedes. Juicy for 4th as well, Racing Point and McLaren. Racing Point seem to be having higher highs, but McLaren seem to be more consistent. Renault kind of on their own now in 6th. Alfa Romeo have pulled clear somewhat of Haas and Toro Rosso, but the squabble over 7, 8 and 9 still strong, especially as Toro Rosso just 3 points behind Haas. Williams on 18 points there, so not always the last two across the line, but it's not been a great day and a great season for them. So, we've got Malaysia through, Russia all the way through to Abu Dhabi for the last round of the championship. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.